Well, Redfall is one hell of an experience, that's for sure. This game has been getting absolutely flamed since its release a few weeks ago. Many are saying it could be the final nail in the Xbox coffin, assuming Starfield doesn't live up to expectations. Many are saying it's the worst game of the year. Many are saying it's the worst thing to ever exist. So I decided to play the game and see if things were being exaggerated a little bit. Tiny bit of housekeeping, I played this game the day it released and then chipped away at it for about a week in co-op. I feel this is important because A, the game is going to be in its most unpolished state at launch, and oh boy, is it unpolished, and B, I can confidently say that your experience of this game will differ greatly depending on whether you play it solo or co-op. Finally, we played the first half of the game on hard and then switched it to easy just to get it finished. I'm going to shoot straight out of the gate. Redfall is not a good video game. Redfall is a bad video game. But I would be lying if I said I didn't actually have some fun with it. However, this was for all of the wrong reasons. The first thing I want to talk about is how truly baffling it is that Arcane made this. Arcane. Dishonored 2 and Prey are two of my favourite games. Deathloop, I feel, was a bit overrated, but it's still a pretty solid game. Redfall just has absolutely none of their DNA over it anywhere. The core gameplay loop of this honestly reminded me of something like Dead Island. You're just going to places, killing stuff and leaving. Which brings me onto the story, and more specifically, its presentation. You've undoubtedly seen by now that Redfall's story is told through still images. Like, the whole thing. That's just not AAA quality at all. It serves no artistic purpose, it's just still images instead of cutscenes. And as a result, you feel zero closeness to any of the people in it, what they're doing, who they're fighting, or why they're doing any of it. I am someone who loves story-driven games. I will always pay attention to the story of essentially any game, but I did not care even a smidge about the story of this game. The world is infested with vampires, and you're killing them is literally all you need to know. Then there's the gameplay. This is just not good. The strength of Arcane's gameplay has always come from the immersive elements. In previous games, you'll have multiple avenues to go down in regards to how you'll choose to complete your mission. You can experiment with your gadgets, you can trick the AI. The strength was never the gunplay. All of that immersive stuff is just gone here. It's always just go to a place and kill stuff. There's no point to stealth at all, so it's literally just open combat. And that is very underwhelming. There are 4 characters to choose from, and they have their own unique abilities. That sounds fun, right? They're all useless. The character I chose had 3 abilities. The first, an umbrella shield thing that absorbs damage, that I can then fling at enemies to deal my own damage. Except, it's crap. It does almost no damage to the enemies, and if it did, it wasn't noticeable. Then there was my trampoline thing, where I basically just summon a bouncy castle into the game and fly into the air. This might be one of the most useless abilities I have ever used in a game. If I've missed something here, please tell me, because I could not find a use for this in combat. The only thing it was good for was making my friend bounce up in the air while in the pause menu. Then, my ultimate. Again, useless. I summon what I gather is my vampire boyfriend or something to deal damage to the enemies. Except, he just hits them twice and then teleports away. What is the point? This couldn't even be forgiven if the gunplay was good, but even that sucks. There is absolutely zero aim assist at all, meaning trying to be precise from distance is almost impossible. And no, I don't want aimbot, I want a dead zone, which this game doesn't provide. The combat loop just isn't fun. You take damage quite fast, there's very few cues as to where it's coming from, and you can only carry 5 medkits, and they don't heal you all too much. Medkits and ammo are thankfully very easy to find, so that's negated somewhat. But running in, shooting stuff, and then running away isn't very fun. The enemies are also very boring. Hunting vampires should be fun, but it isn't. There are a lot of different enemy types in the sense that they're all slight variations of the same vampires you'll be fighting the whole way. There's almost no differentiation between them. You'll use the same tactics for every single vampire encounter. The less spoken about the human enemies, the better, because the AI is just atrocious. You really can just run up to them and punch them if you want to. Overall, there's just no redeeming quality to the combat. It's always going to be somewhat fun shooting things with a friend, but that's all this game has going for it in regards to the combat. Then, the structure of the game. Gone are the intricately crafted levels of Arcane games gone by. Now, every main mission is the exact same, but don't forget about the array of side missions, where you do the exact same thing. Main missions being indistinguishable from side content is supposed to be a good thing, as it usually means the side content has been brought up to the same level as the main. However here, pretty much every mission, regardless of where you found it, whether it's a main mission, a side mission, a safe house mission, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, it feels like side content. And don't you love being forced to do side content? Well, in this game, you are. You will have to complete certain safe house missions and then defeat a mini-boss countless times in order to progress the story. Thankfully, each safe house and their subsequent mini-boss takes around 10 minutes each maximum, so it's not too much of a ball ache, but it is bad design. Using the term mini-boss is also incredibly kind because these things go down absurdly quickly. There was even one time, before fighting a mini-boss, I was sorting some stuff out in my loadout, I came out, and my friend had already killed it. Who designed these enemies? One complaint that I don't necessarily agree with, however, is the world being bland, because I don't really think it is. You do go to some pretty cool looking locations during your time in Redfall. The visual presentation is pretty good. Obviously, it feels empty as hell. There's basically nothing in it, but I think it looks quite nice. I've not even spoken about bugs yet, but I have to be honest here. This is such an unproductive, counterintuitive thing to say, but the bugs in this game actually made it so much more enjoyable. We were just dying of laughter watching some of the absurd mess unfold. Whether it's something small like my UI telling me I have no ammo when it's actually full, or something big like my character just running into a wall, when that is definitely not what's going on my screen. Or even someone falling through the stairs. Bugs are absolutely everywhere in this game. It is actually ridiculous. It is very similar, in my experience, to playing Cyberpunk on launch, where the bugs were just every 10 or 15 minutes. They're inescapable. I assume this will be fixed at some point, but man, is it bad. So many bugs and glitches, it is actually absurd, but they did give me a few laughs. However, I'm not going to give the game credit for that. Is Redfall really that bad? Redfall is really that bad. It's easily the worst game I've played so far this year. It's the worst game I've played in quite a long time. I did have fun though, but that was definitely due to playing in co-op and laughing at the game, not enjoying the game for what it is. If you have Game Pass and a friend, play it for a couple of hours, have a laugh and then uninstall it. You might get some value from that. If you don't have Game Pass, do not waste a penny on this horrendous video game. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope that you did enjoy it. If you did, then please consider leaving a like, as that would greatly help me out. And if you want to see more videos like this one, then please consider subscribing, because then you'll be able to see more. But for now, that's all. Have a nice day, and goodbye.
Ugh!